Brett Dalton!
Wow, usually there's like a curtain that you come behind, but you guys got to see behind the curtain. Most awkward intro ever. Awesome.
That's what I do.
Oh, they're building this too. Awesome. All right.
Yeah, no, let's, no flash, no,
That's
nothing
easy.
except us. How you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Thank you.
Fantastic. How many cons in Canada have you done so far?
This is my second. I did Calgary as well.
Oh, Calgary. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. This one's better. Come on. It's very nice. I get to really, interact with fans here, and I get to spend more time, I think, talking to people. So it's been really fun, and you guys are just so polite, so nice. It's great.
Ottawa's the stereotype of comedians.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's very so polite, so that's where we get the reputation from.
It's
Ottawans.
Thank you for the love. It's really a nice change of pace.
I'm not sure if Molly's around. Molly, oh, there she is. Okay, Molly's going to help us out with the microphone over there. So feel free, guys, to line up after the second question, or now, if you want. It's just in standing. You don't want to stand all day, right? I'm not gonna ask you too much about S.H.I.E.L.D. because I'm sure they.
Right, and I'm not part of that organization anyway.
Yeah, we're probably going to do a lot of spoilers today, so please be aware. Until dawn, you play a gentleman called Mike.
Yeah.
Is this you did the whole thing, right? The voice acting and the motion capture.
Yeah. So I mean, shooting that particular video game. I'm trying to get comfortable on this.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. You can tell me about your childhood.
It's too far away.
No, it's all right. It's a good distance. We're not homophobic or anything.
I didn't think that, but other than this, it's like this is my mic hand.
And sitting next to others yesterday, I was like, okay, this is uncomfortable. So should I sit next to you?
I don't know why. This is weird. Okay.
Maybe my chair's too tall.
Yeah. Until dawn. Yeah. That's a video game that we did.
So did you do the motion capture as well?
Yeah.
And how long was the process for?
For me, it was the longest. So I started shooting this thing back in 2013. It was 2013. Maybe it was 2012. So this was almost completed for the PS3. And then, kind of the last minute, Sony was like, we like this so much, we want you to do it over again for the PS4. And, could you recast it with people who are like names? And it was right at the time when I got S.H.I.E.L.D. So it's like, yeah, but you can keep that guy. We're going to recast pretty much. Yeah, so it was great. It was great. But that means that when I'm trying to describe this game, I am so confused. Because I have storylines from 2012 still in my head. Teen horror genre, you get to choose your own adventure, and because of that, it's just really hard to kind of actually describe a linear story, because it changes every time. So.
Did you enjoy doing some voice work in that regard? Was it?
Yeah. The cool thing about that is I got to see the technology change, because initially it was really a lot of it was done in the booth. And this second time around, there's a camera strapped to your head, and they come in with the mascara, the liquid mascara dots, and you're wearing black. And for a while, you feel like you're putting on like the weirdest production of Cats. it's just some ultra modern, strange version of some art show. And I should know, I've done a few of them myself. But after a while, you just stop thinking about it, and you sort of film every scenario. It's really fun. You guys should do it sometime.
Do a whole group effort.
Yeah, exactly.
In 2012,
sit on the couch. Sorry.
in 2012, you it's the time that you were cast as Agent Grant, but you also had a very interesting year. It was also when you became dad in that same year. My question is, it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a very intense filming scheduled show, and then you're a new father.
Yeah.
How do you balance that? I'm asking that as a father of two girls. So.
Well, look, all you need is just 2 bowls of food and water, a crib. You're pretty much good.
I mean,
At least for the first year. Yeah, you might want to.
A bowl?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, I don't know. There's something also really cool about going and working and putting in a big long day, and then coming home to your family. It's just a really nice thing. And I don't know. I started getting a lot of jobs once she was born. Kind of my good luck charm, I guess. But it's great because life at home becomes kind of. This is weird. We're talking about fatherhood. Yeah.
Change things up in Ottawa.
Yeah, but I don't know. They would ask me to do something in the room or something like that, and suddenly it wasn't like, oh man, what a bad day I had at work. Like it was just much easier for me to sort of leave that, and your priorities suddenly become crystal clear.
Cool.
Yeah. So, all right.
So I'll stop asking questions that are discomforting, and I'll go to other people asking questions that are not.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and take the first question.
But I have such a discomforting question to you.
Why is his mic so loud? Holy.
It's coming out through this.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm going to bring you to, we have Agent May, we have Bobby, we have Sky, we even have Simmons, and they all really want to kill you right now. So my question is when is the Ward's Hail Hydra Rules to Dating coming out? And what's in the book?
It's a 1-page manual. And it just says, careful. In every language. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Yeah, I am on top of many most wanted lists at this point.
Most dead list.
Yeah. I mean, and also it seems like our season finale seems to always bring me together with one of these incredibly strong females, and I haven't done too well. They're very strong, and they're very good. So it's probably a very short book. I don't think Grant. He's been burned twice. Really, he has, with Sky and on Agent 33. So I don't know. I feel like he's kind of moved on from love. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
He's focusing on his other work.
Go ahead.
Do you prefer to play Agent Ward or Hydra Ward?
Well, I prefer to play Agent May, but I can fit into that suit too. Yeah.
You would.
I forgot the question.
Prefer Agent or Hydra?
Yeah, I thought that the character really became infinitely more interesting and complex and dangerous and unpredictable after he became a Hydra agent. So the first guy was cool, but I think at the same time the audience felt, and I felt too, like we're just seeing the surface. Because there's so much mention of his childhood and these things. Like nobody is that way for no particular reason. If it seems like somebody doesn't care or doesn't have emotions, there's whole references about him being a robot or something. I think that I always felt that was a cover, that he actually cares so much that he has to have some kind of front, like this doesn't bother me, because it actually does. I think Ward feels a lot, actually. I don't think that he's careless or unfeeling or anything. But he also has kind of a warrior's mentality of just whatever gets the job done, I'll do whatever I have to do. So I always knew there was something else to it, and then when they did the flip, I was, I thought I was going to be fired, first of all, but after they said, no, it's just a big change in the show. Oh, okay, so I'm not going to be fired? Yeah. And then I thought, oh, yeah, okay, gotcha. And I had the kind of weekend to think about it. And then I knew exactly where they're going with it. And I was just, I just ran in that direction. So, yeah, and they must like what I'm doing because I'm still on the show. And they're giving me a lot of cool stuff, so. Just realized I wore my bear socks. I'm really trying to fit into the Canadian culture here. I have bear socks and a bear sweater. So.
Oh, that's very matched.
So honorary.
Well, you've been to Calgary and Ottawa. That's a lot of stuff.
And I love maple syrup and bacon. Yeah, this should be a Tim Hortons, shouldn't it?
It's all right.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, good.
So my question has to do with the show that just aired on Tuesday. Spoilers, everyone. I won't give too much, I promise. You fought 3 Hydra agents, and it was epic.
Well, there was originally 30 Black agents.
You have to pay too many people.
Yeah.
So my question is, how much was you and how much was your stunt double? And how long did it take? And what was your favorite part of the scene?
That's a lot of questions.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite fight scenes, actually. I thought that really came out. That was a really strong top of show. It really moved. And Ward just got to be so badass in this whole thing. They gave him like all these cool one-liners and stuff, and he got the wink before he gets yanked out of the plane. Like, what? Yeah, the most award he's ever been. It's great. It's great. It's so cool. It's so fun to play. That particular fight scene. Usually we do a fight scene on like second unit, so they're shooting the acting scenes and we're doing the action scenes. And so you kind of can get into a mentality and like, oh yeah, kind of bro out a little bit, and you do it. But this one we had to do like acting in the morning, and then we had about like 7 hours of that fight, and then more acting after that. So that was kind of a little bit different. So in some ways, the time constraint I think made us use our time better, and so it was pretty intense. We got a good fight choreographer who helps with that. There was like 5 questions
Sorry,
in there.
the last one was how much was you and how much was your stunt double?
I think 100% that was me. I think they might have used 4 frames or something else, but they only do that in a
I
while.
had to like rewatch it like 3 times. It was so good.
Oh yeah. Oh thanks. Yeah. That's all me. They almost always use me because sometimes they'll have stuff that will do fast, but. I mean, they know me by now. It's like the 3rd season, and you know, they're like, "You can do it." You know, so I did. Oh, thanks.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So you do a lot of the stunts yourself, or did you have a dream? Yeah, more.
I will do 100% of them. The only thing is, like, if they have somebody going through a window or something like that, they won't let me do it because even if there's like a small cut or anything like that, then makeup will have to come in, and it could sort of cost you in shooting time afterward. I would do it because my skin can take it. But sometimes they say, no, we can't do that. But it's only like for things that was actually me jumping out of a window, like, you know, I do as much as I like. Yeah, I go way back to season 1. You know, no, this is completely on-the-job training. Seriously, with the fight guy and the pilot, he was like, all right, so let me see you punch. I think he buried his face in his hands. He's like, man, we had a lot of work. I didn't even know if I should punch like left or right. I wasn't sure what I was doing.
You grew up in California.
Yeah, I've never gotten in a fight at all. So I'm just sort of making this up as I go along, and thankfully I'm doing a passable job.
You're doing a great job, right?
I know how to fake fight.
Given how intense some of the fight scenes and the interaction you've had with some of the agents, exactly like when you were torturing Bobby, how do you find afterwards, like, just relaxing and getting out of that mode?
I mean, Torture is kind of fun. No, I don't know. It is kind of weird. That one in particular is weird, but that is actually, Adrienne has said, one of her favorite scenes that she's ever shot on the show, which either makes it weird on her end or just kind on both of our end that we were able to sort of connect even though we're doing something kind of weird and intense. Yeah, kind of weird when you think about it, but also you have a job to do, and it was our series finale, season finale, and it was going to go there, and we knew we had a really cool, like, kick-ass fight that was also going to, where she got her comeuppance, so she let me do that, I guess.
But how, like, afterwards do you, like, just blow up steam? Like, the two of you sort of, because you do such a horrible thing to her.
Good point. I play until dawn. I go home. I can go even out at that point. I don't know. There's a lot of times where I'm going home and just thinking about all the stuff I should have done. And I think that's kind of the actors' dilemma. They're kind of always doing that. I guess everybody, actually, because I'm sure the lighting designers are going home too. Like, oh man, I should have shot that thing a different way. I should have lit that key light. Should have went over here. I don't know. I mean, all of us kind of do that. Kind of, there's a certain amount of OCD, I guess, involved in it. So that doesn't answer your question at all, dude. I don't know. To blow off steam. I don't know. Talk about it. Sit down in a therapist's chair.
What you mentioned, you go home to your kids, and that helps?
Yeah, that helps. Yeah, for sure. Suddenly, like, how bad of a day you had doesn't really matter because you got pictures to draw of the dinosaurs. You got cards to make, man. These cards aren't going to make themselves. That macaroni isn't going to live itself yet. Yeah, thank you.
Before I move on, you were saying that sometimes you do a scene and you're not necessarily happy with it. You're an actor, that's your curse, right? Do you often see, there's like 7 takes in one, and then the director or the editor chooses the scene that you...
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, bud.
That's what I'm here for, make you feel good.
Thank you. Wow. Yeah, sometimes, every once in a while, you're like, they did use that take, man. But, I don't know, for the most part, I mean, there's this quote that I wish was mine, but it's never as bad as you think, and it's never as good as you think either. So there'll be certain times where, like, you get that pat on the back, and you're like, oh man, this is good. Seriously, this is going to be the best thing, like, anyone's ever seen on S.H.I.E.L.D. And then you're sitting there like, oh, it's pretty good. No, it's cool, but, like, it's been talked up or whatnot. And so you never really meet those kind of unfair expectations, really. And then when you think, oh man, I really messed that one up, and you see it, and it's like, if the shot's on your back or something like that, you're like, oh man, that didn't matter at all. Why did I worry about that?
No, wait till they see my reaction on my face.
Yeah, no, but the editors, are really good at what they do, and just as everybody involved, like, this is such a team sport, it really is. So even like when you guys come up to the table, which I hope you do, if you haven't already. I get a lot of feedback from the character, but I'm always like giving equal credits to the writers and everybody else involved, or the director who maybe pushed you in a certain way. So it's a team sport. I mean, I'm up there, but also like if it weren't for the writers, it would be a blank page, and if it weren't for the director, nothing would get shot. It would just be me in a studio. So really, this is really a collaboration. So. Let's give love all around. A smattering of applause. Oh, mercy applause. Oh, wow.
So this is kind of like my fallback question because everything was already asked. But considering like every season the iteration of Ward seems to change. Like first season you were Agent Ward, and then you were like Loyalist Hydra Ward. Second season you were kind of crazy Ward. Third season you're now like ultra villain ward. How far down the villainous rabbit hole are you hoping this will go? Like capes and maniacal laughter, or?
Dude, I have the monocle at home. You're deciding on a cat right now? Yeah, and the lasers are currently pointed directly at the moon. We are ready to go. Also, we have a shark tank filled with sharks that have lasers on their heads. Yeah, we're taking it all away.
Season 7 of the movie.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
Well, I, for one, will definitely be your henchman in that case.
All right.
One of the things that I loved about the show is rewatching the first season a lot. You can actually start to see the pieces of Ward changing even before it actually happened. So I want to know, how early did the writers let you know what was going to happen? And did that actually have an impact on how you played Good Guy Ward at all, if it did?
I read somewhere once, this was back in season 1, at the end of season 1, I think it was like a Wikipedia entrance or something, and somebody had mentioned it, like, oh, they let me know from the very beginning so I could subtly play it in every scene. Look, man, I wish I could take credit. I really do. I would love to. But in some ways, I think it was better that they didn't let me know until the episode before, because I would have tipped my hand. I really would have. So, his job is to be as convincing as possible as that agent. So if I didn't know that that was a cover for anything else, then I was just playing that as convincingly as I could. So when the turn happened, it was great and threw everybody for a surprise, but I did not know that. So I'm glad. I think the writers may have known before. They told me, obviously, and maybe with editing or maybe with the way they wrote certain scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's probably some suggestions in there that I wasn't even aware of. Yeah. Glad you saw it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I like that question.
Welcome to Canada for the second time.
Sir, thank you. Yes.
So, one of the things I love about S.H.I.E.L.D. is some of the great guest stars you've got. Like
Yeah.
Bill Paxton,
Howard Booth.
Howard Booth, that's what my question
Constance
is.
Zimmer.
You guys, you play Ward, he's kind of got this kinetic evil. Like, you can just see it brimming under the surface sometimes.
Yeah, that's the name of our next album.
Howard Booth has always been one of the guys I've loved, the way he plays evil. He's just this quiet level that's always underneath it. And how fun is it to interact with him on set, like doing your job, but playing to get somebody like that because he's intense.
Well, I got to turn on my evil too, we get our evil on.
That's the second album.
That's the second album. Thank you. Yeah. It's an acoustic version. That's the so we'll strip down. And it's on a ukulele, believe it or not.
Downloaded on iTunes.
Where's this going? Howard Booth is great, and him and I get along very well. I've gotten the chance to work with him and Bill Paxton, as you said. I mean, what a great position to be in. And because I'm the bad guy, and that's kind of and not bad guy, thank you, anti-hero. But I get kind of my own storyline, and every once in a while they sort of intersect, and he's kind of the wild card, and he messes everything up for anybody else. This is why we can't have nice things. And so I get a chance to work with these guys, and it's great. And this is part of my job, and I almost don't have a chance to freak out because we have a scene together, and I need to know my lines and bring it just as much. So I don't know. It's great. It's kind of surreal that you're like calling these guys, hey buddy, like all of a sudden it's just like a coworker now. It's not just like, oh, Howard Booth. It's like, yeah. And he has the same struggles that I do too. I mean, he talks about as every actor does, on the drive home, thinking about all the things he should have done. So the struggle is real, guys.
Thanks very much.
Third album. It's all house music.
The struggle is real. Third release. But Dalton, Powers Booth. Go ahead.
So, we all know that Hollywood doesn't always have a lot of strong female characters, we're lucky to have one very strong female character on one show. You have like 3 or 4 of them. How is it working with that many strong female characters? How do you like it?
It's great, but here's the thing. They're just characters. Like, I don't know. That's really cool. I think we should have more strong female characters, but also at the end of the day, yeah, for sure. And I'm happy that we have so many on our show, as you said. But at the end of the day, I don't think there's any reason why you can't have somebody who's strong and kicks ass and all that stuff. Why it should be revelatory. I feel like it should be there in the first place. Like, it's anyway. That's how I feel about it, and they're very well written characters as well, and so they have all of these aspects. It's not just like they can kick ass. I don't know. It's great. It's great. I'm very happy to be on the same show. Yeah, thank you. All right, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I just got a question. Your lovely co-partner in the show.
Oh.
What? Chloe Bennett.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you see anything in the future for Ward and her?
Hell no.
Or would you want anything to happen?
Are you asking Grant? Or are you asking?
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, very good question. Next. I don't know how to answer that. Yeah, I mean that's a storyline that I think still might have a little juice in it. I mean, it never quite. And really, all I did, it was a big lie, but all I did was lie to her a little bit, right?
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah, we can get over that.
Yeah.
You know, couples. Something. Or milk and cookies. Milk and cookies in a conversation really does. I don't know why we haven't done that yet. Or why the writers haven't thought, like, guys, sit down with milk and cookies. We can figure out all of our problems.
Or just put yourself on a yacht
and
start shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer that. But that would be cool. That'd be cool. I mean, I'm still like a sky shipper. There have been so many events, though, that have happened.
Yeah.
That maybe that's turned the corner. I don't know. The way I like to think about it is like, I don't know if he's still like pining away and writing songs for her, because there's only so many albums you can put out. But I think that like maybe if she were in the crosshairs, I wouldn't pull the trigger. But I'm not sure if she would do the same for me.
Right.
She already did pull the trigger 3 times. Point blank. After I was like, hey, I'm going to reunite you with your father. She's like, no, you're not going to do that. I was like, yeah, no, I'm going to do that. I broke out of jail, reunited with your father. Here you go. Cool. Boom, boom, boom. What? Sorry for keeping my end of the bargain.
She might feel remorse one day.
It's a sign that she likes you. Jon Snow, right? You know?
Oh, wow. Oh, goodness. Thank you for the question. I hope that somewhat answered that. The Jon Snow. That'd be a cool crossover. That's awesome. What am I doing here? Yeah. Hey! How are you? What's your question, man?
I think you're cool and are you going to be Taskmaster?
Taskmaster, that's one of the theories out there. Maybe that's who I am. I don't know. That is a theory. Sing the Hellfire. That's a theory. I will say that our mid-season finale has some pretty crazy things happening in it. And it has to be crazy, right? Because you've got to sit with that through March. But there are some things that kind of change the show, actually, forever. That's about all I can say. So keep watching. It's only 2 weeks away, and there's some crazy things that happen. I'm not sure if that's going to answer your question about theories, but just stuff goes nuts, man. It's like the Death Star exploding nuts. All because of a ventilation shaft. I mean, somebody really should have. It's just, just
So yeah, the guy was
up.
on the Death Star, planned that, so it's taken care of.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. They won't make that mistake again, will they? All right. Thank you for taking time off of work for.
But he's like, yeah, I was like, oh, I gotta get, I can't tell you the
So, since you're part of a larger cinematic TV universe, have you ever met any of the cast from either the movies or the TV shows and kind of had any interaction with them at all? Or?
Yeah, for sure. Haley Atwell and I are real good friends. We do a lot of these cons together, and it's kind of cool. Hey! And she didn't even say hi. There she is in the front row. My goodness. Yeah, there's a lot of these things. And, for something like this, like William Shatner was here yesterday, and just hanging out in the green room. It's not like we're like yucking it up or anything, but, we're both in the green room. So there's a lot of interaction between us, and it's kind of a weird thing when you think about it.
What's in your coffee?
Yeah, but like, hey, we both got tables here. This is kind of cool. Kind of weird. But cool. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Before you ask your question, in the cons you've done, because I know you've done plenty in the States.
Yeah.
Canada,
Yeah.
Have you met somebody back in the green room that you're a little nervous, like the equivalent of us meeting you?
Well, that's very kind of you to say. John Bernthal was there, and I really wanted him to like me. I think he's just really cool. I think he's a great actor. There's a lot of people. I don't know. Who did I get really starstruck? Oh man, if I met Brad Pitt, I would yeah. I really would. I'm trying to say something real stupid. Just know it.
Just tell them about your album.
No, I think I've just turned into the Chris Farley character. Like, hey, remember that time I runs through it? That was awesome. Just like an hour of that.
Go ahead.
I'm going to go back to Until Dawn. I played it. It's a great game. How
You're going to time travel?
No. Unfortunately, I got your character killed in the game.
Okay, next question.
I was wondering what your first thoughts were whenever you were asked to go onto the game. And
Don't get this guy killed. No.
Like what you thought of when they asked you, and if you enjoyed playing the game yourself.
Yeah, I've really only played it once, and I think the video is online for IGN Network. They were like, "Hey, have you played this video game yet?" No, cool. And sit down on the couch, and we're going to show you while you play. And I thought it was really great. I really do. You're seeing genuine reactions, for better or worse. You take that couch. For better or worse. Sorry. It's hard for me to sort of hide what I'm feeling, so those are genuine reactions. And I think it's really cool. It's such a creative game and all of that. I was very flattered because they held an audition. It wasn't like they just listened to voiceover demos. They held a legit audition, and they wanted to use the space and all of that. Okay, now a deer head is swinging in, and whoa, okay. And that was my audition. I don't know really how I got the part.
Because you used the real deer.
Okay. I used the real deer head. Yeah, I used my powers.
It's not true.
I did a triple take. That's what it was. It was a triple take at one moment. That's a triple take. That was awful. I was very flattered to be a part of the game. I don't know if that answers any of your questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. As you notice, I take a cyclical approach to questions. Don't really come back to it.
Back second season when you got to act with like the whole cast a lot. Now, since in season 2 and 3, Ward's been on his own more. Do you miss acting with other people, or do you prefer like being Eagle on your own?
That's the B-side.
Those are the only two options.
Okay, middle ground. Or doesn't come again.
I miss them. I'd say like the biggest, the thing that I miss the most is working with them. And my favorite part of all of season 2 was the episode when we got back together for that one awkward ass mission, and we were sitting around the holocron table, and I'm like, guys, we were a really good team, right? And for like 3 seconds, the question floats in the air, and we're like, yeah, maybe. And this guy's like, no, I should have shot you in the face. It was crazy, but like for those 3 seconds where that question's lifted, like, I think we're all thinking like, yeah, we had some good memories, you know, other than that whole thing. The rest of it was great, yeah.
They should just come work for you now.
Yeah, they should. I know. Well, we'll see. Their badges are in the mail. I don't know.
So hi, I just wanted to know how it was like working with Kyle McLaughlin.
It was great. We didn't really work together too much. I think we were in a tag together with Whitehall. And I think I opened the door for Sky and them to have a little tete-a-tete. Is that how you say it? There's some French people here. Watch your language, sir. Yeah, so they could have their little rendezvous. I know I got that one. So yeah, I didn't really have a time, but he's the sweetest guy in the world, and I found that he's electric on screen, and you know, he plays kind of a guy who's, or he did before the Tahiti program, kind of kooky. And the cool thing about that is, like, I feel like the kookier the characters are, like, the more normal and nice they are in real life. Like, you know, if you've ever seen Daniel Day-Lewis in an interview, he's like the most charming, polite, formal person, and yet he goes far in his characters, and it's just crazy. So that's been my experience, at least. He's total sweetheart. He's great. Yeah.
Have you did your method is more just reading the script, getting into the character on set, or do you go method all day?
Oh, I don't know if I have the method.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please go ahead with your question.
So my wife and I love S.H.I.E.L.D., and we totally believe that Grant Ward is completely capable of all the psychopathic things that he does.
Thank you.
You're a great actor. So do you have a psychopath coach? Do you go method? I don't think I could play a psychopath.
Well, I would be worried if I had a psychopath coach. Because, like, what are your qualifications for being a psychopath coach? What a weird job to have. I hope that job does not exist. Wow. I don't know. I think that man, I don't know how to answer this question. They give me some great juicy material that I get to like roll up my sleeves in and really get in there. I'm gonna mix metaphors, but you know, like it's really great stuff that they're giving me. So I get a chance to go there. If it weren't on the page, I wouldn't really have that chance. But yeah, I don't know. It's fun, and I think there's a kind of, you know, as he said in this last episode, and for those of you who aren't caught up, there's no spoiler here, but he's like, you know, you have to incorporate what you love into your work. And I think he's good at his job. So I think there's a bit of enjoyment about that. I mean, Top ranks. You know, he was a kid who was beat up on and tried to burn down his family and all that stuff.
Is that even true? We don't even know if that's true.
Well, there was a flashback with Bill Paxton when he takes me out of the thing, and he's like, you got 10 seconds to decide, and I say yes. So he saves me from this life that I had, and then as soon as I go through the S.H.I.E.L.D. training and all that stuff, I'm like great at this stuff. right? And then you see afterward, like when I declare myself like the head of this organization, he's pretty good at that stuff too. So I don't know. I think there's a level of enjoyment in there, and you know, if you can do it with style, why not?
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
We got time for two more questions.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
So my question is, as an actor, I don't know if you're like fans of other series or like sagas, like Star Wars.
I just watched mine. Yes, Star Wars. Of course, I noticed that happened.
So if you could switch places with any character from another series or show, like what series would it be, what character, and why?
Oh. Oh.
You said Chewbacca backstage. You were saying you love Chewbacca.
I did, but that's just because I have the suit, and that's just on Saturday.
So Monday to Friday is a different suit?
Yeah, it is. It is. I like the C-3PO one, but it's just hard to drink coffee. Terrible. I don't know. There's so many series out there. This is like an infinite question. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
This could be. Oh, Boba Fett. Boba Fett's dope. Boba Fett. Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. Yeah, he's awesome. And he does stuff with style, too. He doesn't even talk. How badass is that? I don't even say a word. I'm going to jet back out of here. Cool. Got my pumpkin spice latte. The barista knew what I wanted. I didn't have to say a word. She knew I wanted a PSL.
That was a white girl.
You haven't seen underneath though, you know. He is, he decides it well. It's like fat. That's not fat, it's fat. Oh man. Yeah, because he drinks a lot of boba tea. Anyway. Okay, man, we gotta end this before it goes down. Thank you for the question.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know you weren't exactly involved with Dub Smash and Dub Smash Awards, but can you any insight into what was going on behind the scenes with the podcast or any?
Well, yeah, I was
any
working on my
stories like
album.
that?
So obviously I couldn't do that. There's copyright things with that as well. MGM or you know. Is that who I'm with? Yeah, MGM.
I thought it was an iTunes direct release.
It's an iTunes direct release. Yeah, from Hyper Records. So far, we only have one artist. Actually, Whitehall put out the White Album, which was pretty good. Somebody got there before him, so it wasn't that great.
I forgot a question.
Just anything behind the scenes when the cast of S.H.I.E.L.D. was shooting their versions of the Dub Smash? Like, I know you guys did a huge group shot and everything like that, but was there anything going on behind the scenes where, like, oh, we gotta do this, we gotta pick this song?
Well, the whole thing started at Comic-Con, and Haley is kind of like attached to her phone. I don't know if I've ever seen her without her phone in her hand. And Chloe's pretty close to that as well. So like on the buses when we were being, taken from one place to the next, they were doing this whole thing called Dub Smash, which I wasn't aware of. And then they're like just became obsessed with it, and Clark got involved in it, he loves all this stuff. That the young people are doing. No, but he's good at it. He's so good at it. He's so much better than I am about all of this stuff. So they started doing that, and then Haley was doing that, and then it became a competition. And really, it doesn't take much of a shove to get these people to be competitive. and so they organized this whole thing, and then it benefited charity, and that was great. that we got into six figures. I forgot what the final amount was, but I think 120,000, something like that, for both charities. So that was kind of a cool thing that grew out of something as banal as an 8-second music video on social media.
Do you think you guys would do it again or anything similar?
I don't know. I feel like we're kind of done with that. Yeah, because this thing kept going on for like months and months, and then it actually required a lot of preparation. And part of the fun of these things is like, hey, we're all here, let's do this right now. If you're planning it, sometimes it kind of takes the fun away a little bit. But I don't know. As you said, I was only in the last video. I wish I was there swinging on the wrecking ball, because I would have rocked that video.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And a cover of that is on our next album, too.
Well, on behalf of everyone here at Ottawa Pop Expo, Mr. Dalton, I thank you very much for being here. And let's give him a big round of applause.